Hello, everyone. This is Leslie with Color Art, and I am so excited to announce our newest product coming, Vivid Polypore. It's a clear acrylic polymer blend for paint pouring. Mix it with our primary elements, and it is ready within less than a minute. So, in these cups, I already have some of the polypore mixed. I did speed up the mixing so I wouldn't be boring you guys. And I've put about a scoop of primary elements to an ounce of the paint, and the polypore is mixed down in the perfect consistency for paint pouring. If you want to add pouring medium, you can. If you want to add water because you want to do that Dutch pour technique because you want it just a little bit more juicy, you can. But there's really no need for any pouring medium because we've adjusted the actual acrylic blend to the perfect consistency. Okay. Um, That last color that I'm mixing right now, by the way, is Payne's Gray. It is so beautiful. That dark, dark, dark blue that turns like a slate gray. Here's the all-in-one pouring medium. It's in my sample bottle, and it pours out really in that perfect consistency, almost like a silky, buttery feel. That's an eighth of a teaspoon. That's one of those little serving spoons, like a taster spoons you get at Baskin Robbins. Carefully mix it because that's still a mica powder with the water soluble color in it, so you don't want it to poof up. So if you notice, I'm stirring it slowly to begin with, just till it gets dispersed. This color is Snapdragon, by the way, and it's ready to roll. Now, I've got to sit and tell you, Gina DeLuca is brilliant. I watched her video the other day and she explained the consistency perfectly. By the way, this first color is Peacock Feather. She said, when you're looking at your paints and the stream is going down in the cup, if it creates a small hump, it's too thick. If it creates like a black hole, like there's a hole going down into water, it's too juicy, like into your color, like a hole down into your color, it's too juicy. But if it hits the surface and kind of goes out to an even stream left to right, that's the perfect consistency, which is how I mix the Vivid Polypore. So I'm working on an 8 by 8 canvas I've already covered with some white paint. Those four puddles were peacock feather. They're in our ancient earth kit, but I plan on putting up the individual jars up here in the next 24 hours in case you guys want to buy the bigger jars. I'm putting the a little bit of Payne's Gray, which Payne's Gray is typically made by mixing brown and blue. Our Payne's Gray, when it thins out, it's just an incredible blue gray, but you might see glints of violet in it, um, and definitely interference blue mica. The color I just dropped in the middle is Royal Orchid, and these dots going into the top of my pools are Royal Orchid. Now, I did this in real time. I wanted you to see on the first piece the actual time of dropping the colors in with the spoon. I did not speed this part up. This color is Golden Diamond. There's a little bit more of that Payne's Gray. I'm adding a couple drops on all of those corners. I just wanted that one drop to drop off that stick. So I'm going to tell you a funny story or maybe not so funny story while we're watching the rest of these colors go down. The vivid polypore came out of pure frustration of trying to do the Dutch pour 7 times one night, and I had no blow dryer with any guts. And I kept having to remix, the vivid enamel like all you guys do with the PE Put in the pouring medium, add the water, mix it, put in the pouring medium, add the water, mix it. And I've not done that much paint pouring because, I'm busy running the company or doing other stuff. But to sit down and have to do that many remix batches so I could do the Dutch pour was frustrating. And I said, you know what? There has to be a better way. Oh, here comes a balloon. Now, one thing I learned, this is my very first balloon smash, you guys, ever in the whole wide world. I tilted a little bit of left, a little bit of right, rocked it forward, and rocked it back. And I was really impressed with my first one. What I did notice though, the paint's heavy, and so if you try to put the balloon down, the paint's going to roll down. Now, there is no silicone at all, but notice the change. I sped that part up so you could see that cells started to form. Okay, so a very dear friend of mine bought me one of those little makeup airbrushes, and the wand wasn't working. So in this first part, I tried to use the hose, but it really didn't have that much guts. You see that dark color in the bottom that almost looks black, like a blue black? That's the Payne's gray. Well, what's really cool is where the peacock feather and the Payne's gray run together, which peacock feather is our version of phthalo green. Where the two of them run together, they make the most beautiful turquoise. I'm pretty excited for my very first piece, I have to say, considering I'd never done the balloon technique before. I think part of the secret to it is laying down the paint. I know her last name is Smith. Her and her husband do videos, and I had seen her lay down the color, and I said, okay, she's putting the color kind of down in the pattern of how petals might be formed with a center like the center of a floral and little dots around the edges. So, Saska Smith, I think is her name. Go check out her YouTube channel. Thank you very much for being my guide in getting started on the balloon technique. As soon as I'm done, I will have a close-up for you guys so you can see how beautiful the primary element shimmers. Very similar to the resin art. For those resin workers out there that have never really seen the close-up personal beauty of primary elements. I'm pretty darn happy with how this piece came out, considering it was my very first attempt. So here we have the close-up. I took this on my cell phone. I have the flashlight on, so as we get close up, we can see these pretty colors. That little glimmer of blue, that's the Payne's gray. It shimmers and sparkles. Very, very pretty. One thing I love is the center. It looks like a little tiny orchid or the center of a beautiful flower there. I'm so happy with this piece. So we're going to do two more of them. Now I've sped these up a little bit more slightly. This one I did the first two puddles in Payne's Gray. It was actually an accident. And then I did the two bottom puddles in the peacock feather, which is good. We got a little variation, but we're still using the same colors. That's the Payne's Gray. And of course the Royal Orchid. I figured if I made one, I might as well do like a, not, I guess a triptych. You could put three on a wall together. Maybe in a section of the house where you have a small area, we just kind of line them up on top of one another. I gotta say, the texture of the polypore is just amazing. Look how it's going down, and that's just the polypore mixed with the primary elements. I am so very happy. I've been painting all weekend. I probably got about 8 canvases, 10 canvases drying now. Experimenting with the paint, trying to push it to the limit. What's it like when I put a little bit of silicone in it? How about a cloud pour? How about pour on multiple layers? Multiple layers, I got some crazy once. I tried to put 3 layers of paint on top of one another that were still wet, but I think that's fairly normal. But I was trying to push it to the limit. Okay, here's my very dirty balloon, but I'm rocking it forward, left, right, backwards. I just can't believe how pretty that comes out. And there it is about 5 minutes later. Now this one I'm tilting. It looked like I got 2 layers of floral petals, and I just did not want to blow it out. So I'm carefully taking my time to just stretch it slightly. I love those little cell patterns in those bottom leaves there. Even though in this particular technique you're not really looking for cells. But the fact that they form naturally. By the way, the white paint I'm using is Rust-Oleum latex white. You get it at Home Depot for $8.99, a 32-ounce can. I've mixed it down with water, about a teaspoon of Liquitext pouring medium, and that's it. I just change it up every once in a while. It's very homogenized. It's not clumpy. Like sometimes your artist loft can get clumpy, even though it's a great paint. So same color combination. I keep wondering if I put just the right shape down and maybe had different objects, could I press out a butterfly shape? I sure like to. And now my much loved, well used balloon. See, now that one I didn't go back towards myself. It got a little off center. And I forgot to put the gold dot in the middle. So after I blow this out, the center looks a little bit vacant and I touch it up just a bit. A little bit of that solar gold I'm just kind of dropping in. Excuse me, golden diamonds. But you could use solar gold if you have it, okay? That's the one thing about the polypore is pouring artists who have maybe copper, bronze, gold, mica. That's the one thing you always want to make more intense is you want your metallics, especially those high metallics that you need to drizzle or get veins of gold. You want that concentrated and depending upon the paint manufacturer to make a really nice gold paint for you, eh, I'm a control freak. And I make it, and still you're dependent upon what even we believe is a good saturation. So I really encourage you guys to mix your own metallics up, especially for your, I mean, for paint pouring or anything, but especially for this process. Okay, there they are, all three of them next to one another. Woohoo! Be a nice gift for somebody. I'm just torching out the bubbles, and here is a close up on my phone. Get a gander at that beautiful violet there and the phthalo green. This is the second one I did not use my tube. I just let it pull. This one I didn't blow out. This is the one that I let the cells form and then I just tilted it. And I really like the effect of what it did to the paint. I think the shimmer is just a little bit more intense. And the veining of what was once cells, I love that white veining that appeared from those cells that just sort of pulled out when I tilted it. This is the first one. I recognize it by my little orchid center. Love that little pop of Payne's gray there. And then here is the one where I fixed the center with that little bit of gold in the middle. And this one I did blow out with my little air tube. Well, thank you for joining me. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little tidbit and I hope you try the Polypore soon. It'll be up on our website for pre-orders here in the next 48 hours. Thank you for joining me. Please like, subscribe, and share, and have a great day. Bye bye.